Welcome back to the channel, folks. I really appreciate you clicking on the video. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I pretty much just wanted to play show and tell with some cool stuff that I found at the flea market. I obviously picked up a lot of cool military surplus and survival gear, and I'm going to go through it all piece by piece and show you what I picked up. The trunks are empty. They were a really cool find, though. I only paid 10 bucks a piece for each of these trunks, and the one on the left here is a antique. The one on the right's a lot newer, and this one here generally sells for about $100 to $300 online, depending on what condition it's in. So paying 10 bucks for it was a pretty sweet deal. Obviously, I've got a few cool items on top of the chest here to show you and go through one by one. One of the coolest things that's probably standing out to you is this bullet-safe, bulletproof vest. And believe it or not, I only paid $15 for that thing. And I looked it up online, and they cost $300 new. It's one of the top choices for guys in law enforcement and security lines of work that have to buy their own armor because it's very affordable, and it's a really heavy-duty vest too. It's threat level 3A, which means it'll stand up to a 44 Magnum and anything under that. And a lot of you guys that don't know much about guns, you know, 44 Magnum is a seriously hot pistol round. It's actually more powerful than 50 AE, the caliber that a Desert Eagle shoots. And on top of that, this vest has plate pockets in the front and rear. It doesn't have any plates in it, obviously, but you can put strike plates in it and make it so that it's better than a 3A vest and resistant to rifle rounds. Another cool thing I found is this old Army duffel bag. You don't see these old olive drab duffel bags laying around anymore. This one's got somebody's name printed on it. I think most of them do. These duffel bags used to be a lot more common than they are now, and I haven't seen one of these things in a long time, so as soon as I saw a guy selling one at a table with a little bit of Army surplus stuff, I had to jump on it and get it. 10 bucks. The next thing I want to show you is actually a bit of a package deal. I got a few of these items all together in one purchase from this one dude that had evidently cleaned out a storage shed that used to belong to a former soldier, and the first thing he had that caught my eye was 2 full sets of 100% polypropylene U.S. surplus undergarments. I'll show you a picture of what they look like on a person so I don't have to pull them all out of the bag and stuff. But they're extremely warm undergarments, and they're what U.S. soldiers wear underneath their uniform. It's some of the best cold weather gear that you could ever imagine. I've already got one top like this that my dad got from an Army surplus store a long time ago, and it's so incredibly warm. It's one of the warmest pieces of gear or pieces of clothing that I've got. And when I saw, you know, 2 full sets, top and bottom, sitting there on this dude's table, I just had to grab them. And the dude was really cool, and like I said, he did a package deal for me. I got this little, what I'm assuming is a compass bag, and this belt, which actually isn't an Army surplus belt, and these 2 soldier handbook, textbook things, which actually have a lot of valuable survival and combat information in them. All this stuff right here was a package deal from that dude for 5 bucks, and that was a really good deal in my opinion, because just one piece of that polypropylene stuff goes for about $20 a piece online when you're looking at surplus websites and stuff. And obviously I'm going to wash the dickens out of that stuff before I wear it, you know. The next couple things I'm going to get to are the angle headlight and the first aid kit there. The first aid kit doesn't have any medical supplies in it. I was surprised when I opened it up. Come on. I was surprised when I opened it up that it was actually full of chem lights. and they're all good chem lights that haven't been cracked yet. And I cracked one of them, and it was really bright. So that was a cool little find. For this old angle head flashlight and the box of chem lights, I paid $10, and that was a really good deal in my opinion. Unfortunately, the angle head flashlight is missing an O-ring here and an O-ring right there, and part of the switch is actually missing, but I'm going to fix that by bending up a new metal switch and putting it in there. Damn, there's a deer walking in the woods. Anyways, this light is a Fulton, and I forgot the model number, but this is a really cool old military surplus flashlight. And like back in the 70s and 80s, when actual weapon lights weren't as popular, this was the tactical light to have if you were like a prepper or a gun nut or something like that, because you would clip this thing like onto your shirt pocket or onto your belt or something, and you had two hands free to do whatever you wanted to, you know, use a weapon, do any sort of task. And that was a pretty cool little lighting package there. Even though this light doesn't work yet, I'm going to order a whole new parts kit for it with bulbs, and I'm going to fix the switch and all that. So cool little lighting kit for $5. Rebuildable, cool old surplus flashlight. The next package deal that I want to talk about was also only $10. I got this magazine pouch for the M16, M4 style rifles, and this mess kit. I honestly don't know what era this is, but I know it's US. I'm going to clean the hell out of that. I've got some good methods for cleaning metal, and it'll be totally sanitary when I'm ready to eat off of it. Anyways, I got the mag pouch, the mess kit, and this Vietnam era gas mask bag, all for $10 from this one dude's table. And he was a really cool dude. We sat and talked about cars and surplus stuff for a long time, like maybe an hour, before I finally bought something from him. And the bag, the mag pouch, and the mess kit was a pretty good deal altogether for $10, in my opinion. My first thought when I picked up the mag pouch was to make it my new medical container, and I may possibly do that with the first aid kit. The problem with that being is the first aid kit is the perfect hard container for all those chem lights, so they don't get popped accidentally. So this probably will be what I end up transferring all of my current medical supplies to, and sticking it on the side of my Alice pack. So yeah, that's like I said, that was a good little find for $10 right there. And anyways, let's move on to the cool stuff that I've been withholding from you the whole time, the knives and tools. I was walking around and saw this one dude that was selling a bunch of obvious used high-quality bushcraft and survival supplies, like multi-tools and Swiss Army knives and stuff like that. And I talked to the dude and his son, and they were actually selling out a collection of knives and stuff like that Dad had been collecting over the years. He was like really into survival and bushcraft and all that cool stuff. And I ended up picking up this K-bar short knife from him, which this is the serrated hard sheath model. And you would think that a leather sheath would actually cost more, but it doesn't. The hard plastic sheath costs more. And this is the model with a hard plastic sheath and a bit of serration on the blade. And this is about a $90 knife. And I have always wanted a K-bar. Come on, focus. I'm sorry for the poor camera work, guys. I'm a little bit excited and giddy about all this stuff, in case you didn't notice, but I've been wanting a K-bar for a long time, and it's not an actual USMC K-bar. In fact, this is the K-bar short, so it's, in case you hadn't noticed, it's a little bit smaller than a real K-bar, but this is a seriously high-quality knife. Like I said, it's a $90 knife or more, depending on where you get it, and I paid $40 for it. And yes, it's got some obvious wear on it, but the knife is still basically in like 95% condition. Gotta love that USA stamp, man. I can't tell you guys how excited I am to finally have a K-bar knife after all this time. The next knife that I got from the dude wasn't so much of a good deal or a steal as the K-bar was, but it was still a really good knife for the money, and I had to grab it. This is the Glock. I forgot the model number, but the model number's on the blade. I think it's an 81. Come on, focus. Yeah, it's an 81. This is a Glock knife. The camera just will not focus for you guys. This is a really nice Glock knife. It's made out of spring steel, which I couldn't really believe. That thing's got to be super tough. It's the sawback model, which is worth a little bit more money than the model without the saw on it. And this is actually the Austrian Army's bayonet and fighting knife, both, which is why it's got these two little tabs for clipping into the bayonet lug of a Steyr AUG rifle. I'm pretty sure that's what they're using, if I remember correctly. I read up on these both of these knives after I bought them. This one's a little longer than the K-bar, and I think it might possibly be made out of better steel, but I'm still a diehard USA K-bar fan, and I like this Glock knife a lot. It's incredibly sturdy, and it's made out of really good steel, but the K-bars just have a special place in my patriotic heart. Almost forgot to tell you the price. The Glock goes for about $40–45 new from what I've seen, and I paid 30 bucks for it, so didn't really get a super good deal on that, but it's a seriously good knife for $30. I don't think I'll get another knife that good for 30 bucks, to be honest. And just to give you guys a rough idea of what I was working with for a main bushcraft survival camping knife before that, it was actually this Boker, I think it's called a Bokrai, or something like that. It's a throwing knife that I got for 17 bucks, and I bought it because it was an extremely cheap, obviously, all one-piece full-tang knife, and I wrapped some leather around the handle and put a little bit of a lanyard on it, just to keep it from being so horribly uncomfortable, and it's still extremely uncomfortable. Like if you're trying to use it for a chopping implement or batoning or anything like that, it's a pain in the butt to use and it hurts your hand, but it's, you know, I'm 100% confident that it's not going to break on me, that's for sure. And that was the whole point of it. I would say that the K-bar or the Glock are a substantial improvement. Next cool piece of steel to move on to is this Leatherman Wave. This is a really cool multi-tool, and the dude only wanted 40 bucks for it, which is awesome because these things go, I was seeing them go from anywhere from $90 to $150, no joke. And that's what sold me on it right there, is it's the first Leatherman I've ever seen that has a lock blade folding knife, so you don't have to totally unfold the whole thing to get to the knife. You know, if you wanted to use this as just a pocket knife, it would be bulky and heavy and cumbersome for sure, but it's actually a really good multi-tool knife combination thanks to the way that the blade is accessible like that. And yeah, you guys can probably see that it's seen better days. The guy that I bought it from was, I would say, not abusive, but careless with the way that he kind of dogged and looked after his tools, you know. Not the nicest guy to his stuff. And I was asking about this little great neck thing, and he threw it in for free. It probably isn't worth much, you know. It's made in China. I can't even open it with one hand. It's not nearly as high quality as the Leatherman stuff is. I honestly wanted the second multi-tool here, this great neck, for my secondary smaller pack, and that's actually what this gas mask bag is going to be. I'm going to have two little packs, a smaller survival pack with a few essentials in it for emergencies and like short hikes and things like that. It'll have everything I need to start a fire and stay warm. Space blanket, fire steel, something to keep water in, maybe a little bit of dried food, Anyhow, that's going to be my new small rig, and that's going to go in it. Probably one of these knives right here as well. We'll see. I might possibly do a video on that. One last thing to look at before I leave you guys is the cool little markings and paperwork on this box. Ghoul King, if you were watching this video, I'd appreciate it if you could tell me how official this is or isn't. I would lean towards believing it because the paperwork right here looks pretty official. It looks like an itemized list of everything the dude brought back in this box. And there's a... shit, I can't read the one on top. It says 4 thin rolls of green duct tape, 1 silver roll of duct tape, odd tools, 6 pairs of safety glasses, 1 infrared light, roll of 550 cord, 1 clipboard, 2 green folders, 1 binder, 1 set of foam knee pads, 1 set of foam elbow pads, 3 tool bags, 2 clip-on bags, 2 mag lits, or mag lights I'm guessing, 1 first aid kit, mixture of bandanas and neck gaiters. I've never heard of a neck gaiter. Cold weather underwear set, coffee cup, extension cord, camelback, sunglasses, and bolt cutters. So yeah, Ghoul, if you recognize any of the markings on this box, or if you know what that form is, or if you even know what the infrared light was used for, chime in, man. I'd really appreciate to hear from you. Alrighty, I've rambled on for a long time. This video's got to be like 5 or 10 minutes long by now. I hope you guys put up with my rambling. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was really just a bit of a giddy show and tell because I got a bunch of cool stuff from the flea market and I had to show somebody. Alright folks, I appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that cool generic YouTuber stuff. Scream at me in the comments. Take it easy.